In order to demonstrate its power, under the permission of the greatest creator, 4.5 billion years ago, Jesus led hundreds of millions celestials start the project of creating solar system. They first created the Earth, then the Sun and other planets in the solar system. They made very careful calculation and design on the size, position, rotary speed of the Sun and the Earth. After that, Jesus sent near 100 million celestials come to the Earth with the identity of intelligent beings. They started large scale of creation on the Earth. The water, air, and most green vegetation and grazing animals are the creations of those celestials. Microbes were self-created as the result of water and photosynthesis. This process, from beginning to the end, lasted for nearly 2.3 billion years. Before animals were created, there was no moon. When the first group of animals were created, celestials found that if they left Earth, animals could not survive without ebb and flow, wind, cloud, rain, and snow. Therefore, they built two big smelters at places not far from where is now Cairo, Egypt, and the Atlantis. It is now located at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, and made many airships, UFO, using the special smelted metals, and sent the animals they created to everywhere on the Earth. At the meantime, they used these airships to transport smelted metals to a space station. They then created a huge hollow ball with a rough surface, silver, and reflecting. This huge ball is the moon we refer to today. 1 billion years ago, the night on the Earth was very bright. Later, because the dust from universe continuously dropped on the moon, it was no longer as bright as before. The UFOs we occasionally saw are not from outer space, they are from the center of the moon, which is a huge warehouse. It stores many tools which had been used by celestials. UFO is also one of the tools. There is a door on the moon. It can be opened at any time. There is a giant palace under the mysterious Bermuda Triangle that is the temporary lodge for the visiting celestials. Celestials can remotely control UFOs in the warehouse of the moon to monitor the Earth according to their needs. The Earth of 200 million years ago was very beautiful and prosperous. The place where Sahara Desert currently is located had many green mountains and a dense growth of green trees. Birds were twittering, flowers were blossoming. It was once the most beautiful places for green plants and animals. Celestials used to love singing, dancing, and playing on the Earth, and they were so enjoying it and almost forgot their home. Unfortunately, the happy scene didn't last long. The happiness of celestials provoked the anger of Satan. In order to show that he had superior power, he sent another group of Buddhas to the Earth 250 million years ago and started to create flies, mosquitoes, bugs, rats, scorpions, centipedes, snakes, and predators in large scale to let these animals fight with the creations of celestials. Moreover, they even appeared in the form of dinosaur, destroyed the plants and animals all over the world out of jealousy. This inharmonious situation made the greatest creator very sad. At about 130 million years ago, he destroyed all dinosaurs by applying one kind of plague and put all their souls in the prison of the cathode black hole. Unfortunately, there were a pair of smart dinosaurs hid under the bottom of East China Sea and were able to survive. They kept dormant underwater for nearly 100 million years. In about 1,600,000 years ago, in order not to let the Earth become idle, the greatest creator designed a life structure himself, which is the draft version of current humans. He then gave the design paper to Jesus and led him to implement. The helpers of Jesus, celestials, started to make new lives according to this design. In order to receive the energy of the greatest creator sending from the universe, also to accumulate energy for creating this special new life and speed up the process, they built many laboratories in the place where now is Egypt. These laboratories are exactly the well-known pyramids of Egypt. Because of the lack of experience and some steps were missed, the first lives they made were monkeys, and then after were apes. Of course, this wouldn't please the greatest creator, so they continued testing and making. The first group of human they successfully made are the black men in Africa, and the second group are native Indians in America. The third are the white men in Europe, Egypt, and North Africa. When they finished producing 3 groups of human, they started to evacuate, and in order to avoid Satan creating difficulties again, they destroyed everything around the pyramids before they left, which is also why Sahara is a desert today. But where do most people in Middle East come from except Egyptian? They are the descendants of Adam and Eve, is what says in Bible. They were created by another God. This God knew that his rival started to create humans on earth. He created a secret Garden of Eden in about 7,000 years ago at Jerusalem and made Adam and Eve. After they were created, he destroyed the Eden to avoid the attention of his rival. This is why Cain was afraid that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. Who was he afraid of? The humans created by another God. This is why his God still protected him, even Cain killed his brother. Whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. So today's conflicts between Israelite and Palestinian are actually the conflicts between brothers and our family affairs. And let's now talk about East Asian and Southeast Asian. They were not created by any god at all. They were the embodiments of dinosaur. At about 7,500 years ago, when the pair of dinosaur knew that celestials created human on the earth, they sneaked from the sea and changed into human form, started to propagate along the Yellow River, and the descendants gradually spread all over Asia. One of the groups went upwards, crossed the Pamirs to India. They want to mingle with the descendants of Adam and Eve to avoid the punishment of the greatest creator again. This is why Chinese people always say, China is the hometown of dragon, and Chinese are the descendants of dragon. This is also why Buddhism originated from India, but blossomed in East Asia and Southeast Asia. Why it didn't become popular in India? The ancestors of Sakyamuni went to India from Yellow River. When they arrived at India, they found that their consciousness was not compatible with that of the descendants of Adam and Eve, and had to find new home. Because in their subconsciousness, there's a very deep call, that is to go home. Which home? The Elysium, before they came to Earth. Sakyamuni found he came from Elysium after his enlightenment. Although he had a blurry picture of his home, he still remembered something. Once this subconsciousness was awakened, he decided to be engaged in the cause of preaching to other descendants, and shifted the focus to the east led by of his subconsciousness. That's also why Bodhidharma came to China to preach Buddhism. Because Indian people were designed by a different creator, they were reluctant to accept the theory of Buddhism because of the absence of the memory in their subconsciousness. That's also why, although Buddhists had made great efforts, it still failed in India. However, in East and Southeast Asia, people had the instinct sense of the existence of other dimensional spaces. It is quite easy for them to resonate with the theory of Buddhism. Once they accept it, it is rooted and lingers in their mind. The state, vague and intangible, which Taoism pursues and the Elysium world Buddhism pursues, are something rooted in the subconsciousness of the yellow race. They feel and believe the existence of the space that is hard to explain. In fact, the space where the yellow race yearning for is the place where the dinosaur had lived in 10,000-year world and Elysium world. Therefore, even after 10 million years, the message is still embedded in the genetic structure of the yellow men. East and Southeast Asian tend to cultivate Buddha and celestial. It is driven by their inner voice. Although some people accept the theory of Bible, it is not an acceptance out of their heart, but a rational act. People of other races are very easy to believe in God, but quite reluctant to accept Buddhism and Taoism. Some people might believe in Buddhism and Taoism, but it is just a blind pursuit of mysterious phenomena. They are impossible to reach the state of resonance of soul. Then, what is the truth of the Great Flood in Noah's time? First, I want to explain something. Before the Great Flood, human beings had been through extinction already. The humans created 16 million years ago were very strong and tall. They were cruel and very aggressive. They maltreated animals and were very greedy. They didn't even respect the greatest creator, not to mention gods and Buddhas. The city of Maya, ancient Egypt, and Atlantis were their activity centers. They had the power of God, Buddha, and celestial, but were lack of their virtue. They always went to 10,000-year world and Elysium world to make troubles, and did whatever they wanted to do, which had become a big threat to the order of the universe. Finally, the greatest creator had to order some gods destroy the city of Maya, ancient Egypt, and Atlantis in one night. Only left some weak and less intelligent humans on the earth to continue the propagation of the human species. In order to comfort these men, the greatest creator created another planet which is even more beautiful, 960 light years from the earth. It is the 1,000-year world. The greatest creator told these people, if they behave well and don't make trouble, they would be able to go to 1,000-year world, to enjoy happier life after death. However, these humans started to forget the warning when the population grew to large numbers and its civilization advanced. They began to ignore the greatest creator and thought he was nothing special. At about 4,700 years ago, humans on the earth thought that they were able to manage the earth themselves without the help of the greatest creator and gods. They ignored their teachings and insisted their own will. Their pursuit of physical and material comfort far exceeded the pursuit of spiritual growth, which had caused moral degeneracy and the advancement of brute. It strongly destroyed the harmonious atmosphere of the earth. Moreover, the two gods managing the earth had different ethics, thus fought with each other, which made the greatest creator so angry that he turned around the earth's dip angle. Huge storms poured down. It lasted for 40 days and nights and drowned most humans and animals. The evil act of humans were then curbed. But after the Great Flood, Noah's family were not the only men survived. There were survivors all over the world. This can be verified in many Chinese historical records. The story of Diu flood control is a hard fact. There is also detailed narration in the legends of the Indian tribe Mandan, North Dakota, America. This is the outline of the origin of human beings. 二人类的意义 The purpose of humanity. Xiefeng, translated by Tsong Long, is the purpose of humanity only for survival? Are humans the most intellectual animals in the universe? Does the existence or the disappearance of humankind have any influence on the universe? We know from the chapter, The Greatest Creator, that there is purpose for any life beings in the universe. Nothing exists for no purpose. Solar system and everything included are to serve humanity, while humanity is to serve the greatest creator and indirectly to serve gods. The greatest creator created the universe, gods, Buddhas, and celestials. God sent celestials to create humans under the authorization of the greatest creator. Therefore, the meaning of humanity is to live for its creator, gods, and the greatest creator. The greatest creator created numerous gods assist him manage the universe to ensure it is running in order. God is the assemblage of high energy. God only has godhood, but doesn't have playful and naughty character. They can't bring joy to the greatest creator, so the greatest creator created many angels, celestials, and Buddhas. Let them travel freely in the universe to brighten up the atmosphere of the universe. Although celestials and Buddhas were created by the greatest creator, they are on a lower energy level and are dominated and influenced by the God in its respective universe. The celestials coming to Earth 250 million years ago, and the Buddhas coming to Earth 200 million years ago were the result of the influence. There are three origins for the human on Earth. The black men in Africa, American Indian, Egyptian, white men in North Africa and Europe were made by one God. Israelite, Palestinian, Iranian, Afghans, Iraqi, Turk, Syrian, Jordanian, Lebanese, Saudi Arabian, and most Indian were created by another God. Chinese, Mongolian, Japanese, Korean, and the people in Southeast Asia are the descendants of dinosaur. No matter where we come from, we are equal in the sight of the greatest creator. But in the sight of gods, there is big difference. The antagonism among gods is reflected evidently on humans. We can see that from rivalries among Judaism, Christianity, Catholicism, Islam, and Buddhism. The people of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are originally from the same source, however, because the Israelite can't get along with their fellow, and instead made good friends with the people from other origins, which had caused their God to create Islam. Muhammad created Islam based on the revelation of his God in opposition to the Israelite and other people. The Israelite should stand together with Muslims, but they betrayed their God and went to join the men created by another God. In the end, they were not only not accepted but also persecuted by those men, while their brothers, Muslims, refused to accept them either. This is the root cause why the Israelite were persecuted in World War II and still fight with Palestinians till today. The ideology of Buddhism is completely different from that of Christianity and Islam. To survive, Christianity and Islam have to compete. However, Buddhism advocates not fighting. Even die without descendants to leave this world of disputes and go back home to enjoy free life. The reason why Japanese disturbed Asia in World War II, even fought with USA, is not the problem of Buddhas, but the punishment by God to Buddhas. We know that East and Southeast Asian are the offspring of dinosaur dragon. They are the embodiments of Buddha. They used to be the followers of god Satan, but because of that great plague, they realized that no matter which god they follow, they could be faced another calamity one day. So the best choice for them is to self-cultivate and go back to the Elysium world. This thought and behavior had provoked the discontentment of their god, so he punished the descendants of dinosaur at the same time he punished the Israelite. Moreover, Taoism, a category of Buddhism pursuing only skill, not way, emerged in the process of propagation of Buddhism. Taoism is a school of religion which looks peaceful from the surface, close the door for the world outside, and form its own system. But deep inside, Taoists are very competitive. When they are at a weak position, they pretend to be humble, but when opportunity comes, they will stand out to show off their power. Japanese Shintoism also has the similar character. Human beings on Earth come from three completely different origins, and the ideological polarity was a historical issue. However, this was not what the greatest creator wanted to see. Jesus came down in form of human body with a mission given by the greatest creator. He was born in the Satan-made Israelite. When he criticized the Pharisees and religious leaders by showing his miraculous power, he also taught people to love each other and said all nations should be united. He asked people put their hope on the greatest creator and make the earth a paradise as the greatest creator wishes, the kingdom of the greatest creator. St. Paul is a very good example transformed by Jesus' teaching. Today, all people around the world gradually come to surrender to Jesus. They are in fact walking on the way guided by Jesus. Now we know that the purpose of humanity is to serve the greatest creator. We are not alone in the universe. Except human beings, there are angels, celestials, and Buddhas. And there are gods above angels, and the greatest creator above gods. Humanity have been through hardships since its birth. Today's world is not an easy gain. We need to be grateful to the greatest creator and live in accordance with the teachings of gods. Any arrogant behavior will lead to more sufferings and even the destruction of human beings. 三人类的作用 The role of humanity. Xiefeng. Translated by Tsong Long. The greatest creator loves humans because we were designed by him. Among all life beings, celestials are his most favorite, and the next is human. Therefore, we have three responsibilities. To please the greatest creator. To maintain unity of opposites of the God world. Gods are also the children of the greatest creator. There is no good or bad God. Each God has its own role to play. It is up to the greatest creator to judge their merits and demerits. To build and beautify earth. Building and beautifying earth is the responsibility and the indispensable obligation of humanity. Maintaining ecological balance, purifying air, rivers, and land are the jobs must be shouldered by humans. We must not shirk our responsibilities just because we are taken care by the greatest creator. It is just like kids must learn to be independent and help themselves. They must know rely on the parents for everything. 四人类的过去和现在 The past of humanity. Xiefeng. Translated by Tsong Long. The past of humanity is a history of sufferings, a history of fights and conflicts. The past of humanity is a history of bewilderment, a history of manifestation of animal instincts. The past of humanity is a history of selfishness, a history of survival of the fittest. The past of humanity is a history of chaos, a history of giants competing for powers, religions competing for position. The past of humanity is a history of wickedness, a history that is not worthy of remembering and emulation. The current situation of human being. Although there are regional extremes, humanity in general has been away from barbarism and ignorance, and on its way to be more rational. While in some places there are still superstitious forces, but scientific developments have made the majority realize that superstition is the source of barbarism and ignorance, and the vital cause of social turbulence. There were some major superstitions. Fanatical belief in religion. They think the religion they believe is the only right one, and others are evil. However, in fact, each religion has its own blindness and a side of suppression of human nature. Fanatical belief in any religion is the result of an emotional choice, not rational. As long as religions exist, the light of human nature is not able to shine, and humanity is not able to get out of barbarism and ignorance, and war is unavoidable. The suffering of humanity will not be possible to end. Frantic worship of the great. Every country has its own great men and its own founding heroes. They made immoral achievements in elimination of old forces. They are worthy to be respected. But if they are worshipped as God and the Savior, a vicious cycle will begin to form, and humans will be dragging into another round of suffering. It is all right to worship a great man, but if it is over a limit, it becomes a mania. Mania is a mental illness, and it is also a new form of barbaric ignorance which will inevitably lead to destruction and repression of human nature. Blindly follow a theory or academic conclusion. The development of things is progressing in a form of wave. Any theory or academic conclusion is a symbol of development from the perspective of current time and space. However, they are not perfect and are not able to cover the comprehensive contents and its extended meanings. They are not the ultimate truth. If we follow them blindly, our thoughts will be bound, and therefore new thoughts and theories are not able to emerge. We will hardly see the situation of 100 of flowers blossom, 100 of schools of thought contend, which will eventually lead to the twist of human nature and stop the progress of human civilization. Nationalism. Needless to say, each nation has its unique advantages, just like different fruits and melons having their own taste and degree of sweetness. If watermelon and peach think they are the best, and all other fruits are useless, a monomode will be taking shape. This is an extremely overbearing behavior. National pride and sense of superiority is evil, not the manifestation of one's divinity at all. The stronger the feeling, the more discrimination and barriers it will cause among nations. As a result, human nature starts to fall. Nationalism is another form of superstition. Worship of masters. There are some extraordinary and distinctive people in the history of each nation. We call them master because they have a unique viewpoint, foresight, wisdom, or possess a unique quality. It is quite reasonable we respect and call them master, but if we worship them, it becomes an infectious virus, a superstition. We see the magnificence of the universe from many twinkling stars in the sky. A nation is great if talents come out in succession. Any master is like a shining star of that time. If we regard him as a sun and keep on revolving around him, the brilliancy of other stars will be covered, and the nation will not have a successor. Blind faith and following. Seek after extraordinary. A man can only be a man as long as he has a human DNA body. He can't be God or something else. We can't deny that life beings in other time and space could be reincarnated to human world. That is because they are bestowed by the greatest creator special abilities, wisdom, and mission, which is something embodied in their DNA. These abilities and wisdom are far beyond any ordinary person can reach. As one of general public, we can only follow natural law and don't need to seek after extraordinary. If a potato wants to become a tomato, a red date wants to become a walnut, it is not only unnecessary, but also impossible. We will be on the way of devil if we are determined to possess supernatural power. For example, in the last 2 decades, the popularity of one after another gong exercise is a form of superstition and has wasted time, energy, and talents of many wise men, who fall into a mud of self-anesthetizing and self-deceiving and can't get out from it, eventually lose their way. Worship of gods and ghosts. Communicating with spirit world. This is a fundamental superstition. As far as human beings are concerned, there are only 2 gods, Jesus and Satan, and no other gods. If there are more, they are made up by men. Humans are not eligible to title someone as God and then worship him. This is a typical superstition. As for ghosts, as long as we show no interest, they will not bother. It is not necessary to ask God to drive away ghosts. Advertising ghosts in movies, books, or verbal communication is a historical retrogression and a wicked act incompatible with modern civilization. The sayings and behaviors of communicating with spirit world are destructing human nature. They are also negation of human beings. Spirit world does exist, but not for current human beings to communicate with. The man who can really communicate with spirit world must be a man with perfect human nature. Otherwise, the communication is not authentic, or it goes astray. Other superstitions. There are a variety of other numberless superstitions, which are the trash descending from human history. If I criticize them here one by one, many people would not accept it emotionally. However, these superstitions will surely be out of sight and disappear as science and human civilization develops. The past of humanity is a time ruled by religion and superstition. The present of humanity is a time of science combined with religion and superstition. The future of humanity will be a time of science and religion mixing together under the light of ration. 五、人类目前面临的危机 V. Current crises faced by humanity. Xiefeng. Translated by Tsong Long. The crises faced by humanity has been long-standing. There had been warnings in Bible, Quran, and the Book of Earth Mother of Buddhism. In recent 20 years, many scientists, ideologists, and spiritual leaders have all sensed the crises faced by humanity are getting more and more serious. They can be summarized as follows. Water resource shortages and pollution, food shortages, rapid population growth, air pollution, widespread of strong virus, leakage of nuclear facilities, desertification, endangered species, ecological imbalance, greenhouse effect, ozone depletion, competition of nuclear weapons, etc. There are also some people have foreseen the culture crisis, ethic crisis, and belief crisis. All the above crises are only the crises on surface, and they are not the core crisis. The core crisis faced by humanity is the crisis of the soul. All the above crises result from the crisis of the soul. If we only focus on the superficial but ignore the core, it is impossible to resolve them. The crises will become even more severe, which would end up with humanity extinction and earth destruction. Only very few enlightened people can sense some other crises like race extinction and religious virus. Others like the crisis of disappearance of a city in one night, and a beam of wave causing the death of billions of people in a few minutes will definitely not be understood and conceived by ordinary people. The core crisis of humanity is the crisis of the soul. Humans can hear, listen, smell, taste, and sense spiritually because they have eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and consciousness. However, humans are losing spiritual sense. The results of failing to have spiritual sense are not able to feel the existence of the greatest creator, not able to feel the existence of the God, Buddha, or celestials, not able to feel the existence of 36-dimensional spaces, not able to feel the existence of the non-material and negative universe, do not understand the concept of horizontal time. Too much trust on scientific findings, and atheism becomes popular. Do not believe the law of cause and effect. Do not realize the magic of consciousness. Do not believe reincarnation. Self-centered and arrogant. If a man loses the spiritual sense, he loses spirituality. And as a result, he will not be able to have a perfect human nature. His thoughts are prisoned in three-dimensional space. Does not acknowledge the regularity and certainties. Does not believe the law of cause and effect. Does not believe reincarnation. Believe the theory of evolution, law of jungle, and survival of the fittest. Only value short-term interests and ignore long-term consequences. Rotten morals and falling humanity. Lack of gratitude. A man who loses spiritual sense will be just like a black hole, only absorb stuff in but never contribute. Moreover, he is like a virus, which only does destruction to the surrounding environment. The above statements have shown that the core crisis of human being is the crisis of soul, and it is the root cause of why one cannot have a happy and free life. His thoughts are prisoned in three-dimensional space. He believes that Earth is the only habitat for human beings, and completely denies the existence of other spaces, and regards any other doctrines or theories he is not able to understand as superstitions or fallacies, and blocks the way for human beings to pursue other higher dimensional spaces. Does not acknowledge the regularity and certainties. He sees many phenomena as accidents and doesn't realize that all natural disasters are caused by unconsciousness. Does not believe the law of cause and effect. He attaches too much weight on win and loss, uses any means to achieve the goal, and ignores the effects that will cause in later lifetimes. Does not believe reincarnation. He thinks that death is the end of life. So does anything as she pleases without conscience, and regards fame, wealth, and power as the symbols of a successful life. Apply the theory of evolution in human society. Believe law of jungle, survival of the fittest. He stops nothing to achieve his goal, which may include making miseries to other people, polluting rivers, bullying the kind, lying and deceiving. Only value short-term interests and ignore long-term consequences. Use competition as primary means to promote social development, therefore, making nuclear and biological weapons, frantically developing heavy industries that damage environment, predatory exploitation of resources, and treating all people as potential rivals or enemies. Rotten morals and falling humanity. He does not respect God, Buddha, saints and sages, and does not respect his teacher, father, and brother. He is violent, used to cheat, and not shameful of his behaviors. Lying, bullying the weak, abusing women, killing people. He does all evils. Just like what described in the ancient Chinese book Tractate of the Most High One on Actions and Consequences, Tai Sangan Ying Pan, the crimes of the wicked. Sometimes there is someone who behaves without righteousness and moves against rationality, who defrauds ignorant and naive people, vilifies one's schoolmates, employs lies, fraud, espionage, plots, sting operations, and entrapment against others, who slanders and criticizes one's extended and immediate family members maliciously, who is cruel, irrational, and self-willed, who oppresses those below him and claims their merit for himself, but cringes before those above him to win their favor, who has no feeling for favors received, but harbors endless resentment, who rewards those irrelevant with righteousness, but punishes the innocent, who slays people to take their wealth and overthrows people to occupy their positions, who slays captives and slaughters those who surrender, who denigrates the righteous and expels the wise, who wrongs orphans and coerces widows, who ignores the law and receives bribes, who takes the straight as crooked and the crooked as straight, who knowing his faults does not correct them, and knowing the good does not do it, who prays for people's misfortunes, wishes people to encounter disaster, destroys people's success, sullies people's innocence, pilfers people's harvests, masks people's good and kind deeds, and who generate hatred and resentment if desires are not fulfilled, etc. A moral person with spirituality knows he should revere the greatest creator and walk on the way of the greatest creators, and is aware of his weakness as a human, so he will not be arrogant. He realizes he should cultivate himself, and knows he needs to take care of, cherish, respect, and love Mother Nature, its resources, and all life beings. He will never leave the wastewater of factories, mines, hospitals, and cities to rivers, streams, and lands. He will never hunt and eat the meat of wild animals. He will never destroy forests, mountains, and grasslands. He will never indulge in power, money, beauty, and let his greed expand, not even use any means to satisfy his evil desires. He will never use his power to serve his own or his family's interests, nor bully or suppress others. He will never sell fake or shoddy goods. He will never steal other person's research findings to gain fame for himself. He will never make life-threatening nuclear weapons and biological weapons. He will never provoke conflicts among people to profit from it. He will never suppress any new ideas, new cultures, or new values. Lack of gratitude. In his heart, there is no place for the greatest creator, gods, parents, elders, the society, other people. He only demands and is not willing to give. Even a plant bears fruits as long as we water and fertilize it. A chicken produces eggs as long as we feed it. A dog will be a good safeguard of our home as long as it has been taken good care. A man who loses spiritual sense will be just like a black hole, only absorb stuff in but never contribute. Moreover, he is like a virus, which only does destruction to the surrounding environment. The above statements have shown that the core crisis of human being is the crisis of soul, and it is the root cause of why one cannot have a happy and free life. If we look Earth from a height of 1,000 meters and focus on the cities of the world, we will find the survival situation of human beings is just like a group of ants on a hot pot, running around hastily. You don't know where these ants are going to. They just follow their senses with no purposes. They move quickly all together once they spot an animal corpse or a drop of oil. They follow where the trend is. If you ask one of the ants, "Why are you so busy every day? Where do you rush for?" His answer will be, "I'm looking for something to eat, drink, and a place to live. As for where to go, I will go wherever I can find food, drinks, and a place to live." The secular world is just like an animal world. Some people stand themselves out, but where do they go after they get out? They go to religions. All religions, whether it is good or evil, they are made of people who have spiritual pursuit. A real disciple of any religion is superior, in spiritual aspect, to any kings or great men. So we can say, all people in secular world are sleeping and people in religion are awake. The formers do not have spiritual direction as the latters do. However, with the development of science and the growth of human wisdom, many people in religion start to confuse and are not able to tell the direction. Many disciples are like gamblers. They stake all their energy and wisdom on the religion they belong to. Although they know that they can't win back what they have lost, they want to keep gambling. They even want to persuade others to gamble with them to feel psychologically balanced. Just like the fox that has lost his frozen tail on the ice, he has lost the tail. He has been laughed at and left alone by other foxes. He also knows that he doesn't look good without a tail, but in order to comfort himself, he tries to persuade others that a fox without a tail is the most beautiful fox, and others are all fools if they don't cut their tails. People always have an illusion. They think truth lies where the crowds are. Otherwise, why so many people go there? People always have an illusion. They think those religions or organizations that are strong and powerful can point to a place with real happiness. Otherwise, how it can grow so big? People always have an illusion. They think wherever celebrities or intellectuals go must have a promising future, because these smart men will not go for and praise something blindly. However, when they are out, they want to get in. Once they get in, accept bewilderment, blindly following. In some shackles they put on themselves, the only thing left they can do is waiting and hoping with a fluke mind. What are they hoping for? 6. 人类的未来. 6. The future of humanity. Xiefeng. Translated by Tsong Long. We all look forward to an era where everyone will have a happy and worry-free life. Let's suppose the greatest creator and gods do not exist. Are we able to realize this dream only by relying on the wisdom of humanity? The answer is no. Without the guide of the greatest creator and the power of gods and Buddhas, human beings is not possible to realize this beautiful dream. How many authorities will step aside for others? How many rich men will contribute all their wealth to society? How many poor people will work hard except having more children as long as they don't need to worry about food? Let's imagine if the future of humanity is ruled by one religion. What will happen? It would be terrible. Please think of the reason yourself. If the world is ruled by one secular government, what will happen? Same. Autocracy and incompetency will soak up the blood of the underprivileged. If we keep current situation, different religions exist. Countries act on their own will. Everything is decided by the country itself. What will happen? The world is going to collapse. So, what will be the best living situation of humanity? The core in short is, walk on the way of the greatest creator. Build a non-interference government, promoting freedom in politics, economy, culture, thinking, and spiritual pursuit. Then, the future of humanity will be like the following. All religions will gradually disappear. Humans revere the same and the only greatest creator. Wars between nations will no longer take place. No country will have a military force. The leaders of each country are elected by its people. Election is no longer manipulated by the minority. Each leader serves no longer than 2 terms. The population will no longer be increasing unlimitedly. The growth of population will be controlled. Power and wealth are no longer the most important life goals of humans. People will not talk about how to fight with nature and men. The earth will become a place where all life beings coexist harmoniously. Terrorist activities are going to disappear. Crimes will be decreasing year by year. The care of elders and the education of the youth will become the responsibilities of the whole society, which are no longer private affairs of individuals or families. Family life is going to dissolve. Relationship of men and women is going to show diverse forms. Scientists and artists will be respected by the general. Manual labor is not regarded as a less decent job. A common bill of rights will be made. Journalists will have greater freedom. The force of darkness in some regions will be curbed. A lazy person will be regarded as miserable and incompetent. A parasite-like lifestyle will be seen as a pity. Humans will be able to make new form of life. Intelligent robots will come into being. Sahara will be returning to green again. A large number of supermen will appear. They discover the secret of brain and find the channel to communicate with the greatest creator, and therefore they know the secret of time and space, the cause and effect relationship of lives transiting in different time and space, the secret of thinking, the power of mind, and the road towards higher level life space. These supermen will bring the material and spiritual life of humanity to a brand new level. There will not be nature disasters anymore. Earthquakes, floods, diseases will all vanish. Earth becomes a blessed paradise, which will be serene and harmonious, prosperous and vibrant. Cranes are flying in the sky. People are healthy and have a long life. Everyone live in peace and enjoy their job. In conclusion, human beings will enter an unprecedented, highly developed and civilized era, an era with happiness, abundance, and freedom. Everyone will transform to a celestial at the end. We will understand all secrets by that time. Each moment of our life will be extremely joyful. We will meet our family and friends who have passed away. A brilliant new life will start to unfold. However, there is a prerequisite, which is we must walk on the way of the greatest creator. If we ignore it, everything will be developing in the opposite direction. The position of life. Xiefeng. When we understand the origin of the universe, the greatest creator, and humanity, and comprehend the value and role of time and space, we come to realize that humans are not the highest beings in the cosmos, nor are they the lowest animals. Humans are a combination of spirit and flesh, positioned between angels, celestial beings, and Buddhas, and animals. Human life serves as a transit station between lower-level and higher-level life spaces. From birth to the death of the physical body, humans continuously accumulate merits. With abundant accumulation, life evolves towards higher levels. With minimal accumulation, life remains stagnant, reincarnating on Earth in the next life. And without any accumulation, life devolves to lower levels. The value of life. Xiefeng. The brief span of our lives determines the meaning of our future existence. Everything we say, do, think, and intend shapes our destiny. Every moment, every day, meticulously records our good deeds and missteps. The path we choose, whether it leads us to higher realms like the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, or the Elysium world, depends entirely on how we live our lives. Similarly, whether we can avoid descending into lower realms like the realm of livestock, the netherworld, or the flaming purgatory also depends on our actions during our short time on Earth. Our short life holds immeasurable value. Even if we were given all the treasures of the earth, if, after our physical body passes, our life doesn't ascend to higher spiritual realms but instead descends to the realm of livestock, what's the point of all that earthly wealth? Conversely, if we possess nothing on earth, yet, after our physical body passes away, our life enjoys 1,000 years of happiness in higher realms, or even attains eternal life in the Elysium world, what greater purpose could there be? Life is of immense significance, and we mustn't waste it aimlessly. By fully embracing the value of our lives, we can transform decay into wonder and overcome death to attain eternal life. The meaning of life. Xiefeng. The meaning of life lies in how to extend our life to higher-level life spaces, which is to seek the Tao and become a celestial being. Without understanding this, life will be a state of confusion, impermanence, tragedy, brevity, and suffering. With this understanding, life will be clear, enduring, a comedy, eternal, and happy. Due to the opposition between gods, human nature also contains two opposing sides, righteousness and evil. Every person, upon introspection, will find that they are a unity of gods and demons, and it depends on which aspect we develop toward. Developing toward righteousness can lead to becoming a celestial being or a Buddha. Lacking clear moral direction, we continue to be human, while developing toward evil makes us become animals. To maintain the relative stability of the universe, the greatest creator regulated everything in the universe and placed spirituality within all beings. Spirituality is the source of life, and the greatest creator is the sole source of the essence of life. The law of energy conservation and the law of the indestructibility of life are universal principles in the cosmos. According to these laws, we understand that the total number of species on Earth remains constant. Every species has a natural upper limit to its population. When it develops to a certain number that threatens the survival of other species, it will inevitably decline. If one species increases, another will decrease. When the human population reaches a certain limit, it will no longer increase. However, the problem is where the increasing human population comes from and where the decreasing populations of other animals go. The law states that everything has a spirit. In terms of spirituality, all beings are equal. The value of a wolf on Earth is no different from that of a sheep. The role of a human on Earth is no different from that of a monkey or a bee. The value of a peach tree is the same as that of a willow tree, and roses and grass are equally valuable. The difference lies in the quality of spirituality each possesses. For example, with the same type of stone, if its hardness reaches 10, it becomes a diamond. With a hardness of 9, it becomes a ruby or sapphire. With a hardness of 8.5, it becomes a cat's eye. With a hardness of 8, it becomes yellow sapphire or spinel. With a hardness of 7.5 to 8, it becomes aquamarine or zircon. With a hardness of 7.5, it becomes emerald or green sapphire. This hardness continues to decrease, resulting in tourmaline, quartz, amethyst, garnet, olivine, jadeite, wood fossil, soft jade, euclase, moonstone, sunstone, turquoise, etc., with hardness ranging from 3.5 to 5. It becomes shoyu jade, pearls, peacocks, corals, and so forth, all the way down to granite and common pebbles. Similarly, based on the quality of spirituality that each possesses, one can evolve from achieving Buddhahood or becoming a celestial being to becoming a human, crane, tortoise, dog, horse, ox, sheep, pig, flying bird, or walking beast, and so on. The same stone, such as aquamarine, can be divided into various grades based on its refractive index, specific gravity, color, transparency, brightness, and the pattern of its crystalline structure. The same applies to people, who can be divided into ignorant people, worldly people, mortals, sages, and saints based on their disposition, education, knowledge, wisdom, and level of civilization. Human beings are composed of a material body and a spiritual soul. After death, the physical body, which originates from energy, returns to energy. The spiritual soul, on the other hand, comes from the greatest creator, and it is eternal and indestructible, undergoing a cycle of reincarnation. This cycle is determined by a person's actions during their human life, specifically, the purity of their spiritual soul after the physical body's death. Depending on this, the spiritual soul can ascend to become a Buddha or celestial, continue as a human, or descend to become a bird or a beast. Therefore, the increase in the human population on Earth comes from other species, and some animals transform into humans. Now that we understand the position and predicament of humans, we must know that humans on Earth are under the guardianship of two opposing gods. We are faced with two completely different choices every day and every moment. One path requires us to sacrifice our immediate interests to pursue perfect humanity, with a focus on spiritual life and an increase in the quality of spirituality, ultimately leading to the 1,000-year world. The other path requires us to pursue material enjoyment at all costs, maximize material wealth and social status through competition, without considering any illusory afterlife. Because righteousness and evil coexist within human nature, our lives are always filled with contradictions and suffering, regardless of how we conduct ourselves. Being kind, honest, upright, and diligent does not guarantee immediate rewards in this lifetime, just as being evil, deceitful, cunning, or lazy doesn't necessarily lead to a difficult life. Misfortunes and disasters can befall both the wicked and the righteous. Even if we continuously pray, make offerings, and refrain from wrongdoing, there is no guarantee of wealth, well-being for our descendants, or freedom from illness. It's important to understand that our every word, action, and behavior have an impact on our spiritual essence, which will influence our next life. Therefore, we shouldn't use worldly success or failure to judge our moral standards. We should not imitate someone who engages in wrongdoing but still hold high positions, enjoy wealth, and have prosperous descendants. We should also refrain from mocking someone who dedicates their days to reciting scriptures and worshiping deities, yet experience poverty and hardship. Our brief human existence is merely a transitional phase, and its significance lies in our pursuit of spiritual enlightenment and ascension. Human society can be likened to an alchemical furnace, where gold is refined into celestials, and the remaining impurities are classified accordingly. The purpose of life. Xiefeng. The purpose of humanity is to serve the greatest creator, just as the purpose of flowers and plants is to serve humanity. The purpose of human life is to transform karma. We come to the human world for a reason. In the universe, there are no phenomena or results without reasons. We come to the human world instead of other spaces because various causes and conditions inevitably lead us to become human. We come to enjoy the pleasures of the human world and to bear the pains of being human. Why do we have to endure the suffering of being human? It's because we created karma in our past lives. There are no phenomena or results in the universe without causes and conditions. The suffering and hardships we endure are to repay the debts from our past lives. The more suffering we endure, the more debts we repay. Those who oppose us, insult us, bully us, exploit us, oppress us, humiliate us, deceive us, or create unjust cases against us are helping us to transform karma. They are our benefactors. On one hand, we need to transform karma and eliminate the sins we created in past lives. On the other hand, we need to refrain from creating more karma. If we continue to create karma, we will be reborn as humans in the next life. The more karma we create, the more suffering we will experience, and we may even descend to the animal or plant realms. If we stop creating karma and attain perfect humanity, we can enter the 1,000-year world in the next life. If we not only stop creating karma but also accumulate merits by serving society and others, we can enter the 10,000-year world. If we neither create karma nor cease in our virtuous deeds, and we also proclaim the glory of the greatest creator, we can enter the eternal realm, the Elysium world. This is the purpose of human life. 人群分类. Classification of people. Xiefeng. On the surface, there doesn't appear to be much difference between one person and another. We all have the same organs, senses, and bodily functions. We all eat, drink, excrete, and engage in activities like walking, sitting, and lying down. However, once we engage with someone, ask them to perform a task, or have a conversation, we quickly realize that people are vastly different from one another. Most individuals tend to believe that they are not much different from others, with distinctions primarily revolving around differences in wealth and social status. In reality, the variations among people are primarily rooted in their spirituality and wisdom. To help us understand what kind of individuals we are, and to provide a sense of direction for personal growth and goals in life, I classify people into 5 categories: ignorant people, worldly people, mortals, sages, and saints. By considering these categories, you can assess where you currently stand in your life journey. Ignorant people. Basic characteristics.